Chapter 7. Going deeper. Our words reveal our money mindset. The language we use is a pure reflection of what we believe, think, and feel. When you really listen, you will find that people always tell the truth by what they say, even if they don't realise it. Learn to listen well, and you will be able to tell a huge amount about someone's money mindset and their values and beliefs around money. Consider the following everyday phrases. What mindset do you think that someone who makes these statements might have? Is the person spouting these cliches rich or poor? Do they have a below or above average income? Do they feel they have enough money or not? Do these people feel powerless or powerful with the money in their lives? Make hay while the sun shines. What are they really saying? Grab short-term opportunities while you can. Paying attention to someone saying this once saved us a fortune. In 2005, I was going to invest a substantial sum of money in another person's business. As we talked, he mentioned that his philosophy was to make hay while the sun shines. I quickly shut down the meeting and had nothing more to do with him. 2 months later, he had gone bankrupt. When someone says, "I can't resist a bargain," what are they really saying? I have to spend, and I have no impulse control, and I cannot delay gratification. When someone says, "Live for today," what they're really saying is, "I don't delay gratification," and it possibly reflects an in-debt mindset. What about the saying, "Riches have wings"? The possible interpretation for this is money can disappear easily. Money is like a bird with wings. It can fly away if you are not careful. What the speaker is actually saying is, "I have an in-debt or break-even mindset and no idea how to hold on to money." What about save for a rainy day? Interpretation: it is prudent to save for bad times ahead. What they are really saying is, I have a comfortable money mindset, I have big savings and they make me feel secure. Look after the pennies and the pounds will look after themselves. What they are really saying is, I'm good at managing money and I'm not so good at creating it. The speaker comes from a place of fear and probably does not feel confident in their ability to create money. What about the saying, "Money talks"? The interpretation is that people with money have power and influence, but what the person is really saying is, I believe people with money are more powerful. The speaker is making a judgment about people with money, and the term may even be intended to be derogatory. It can also be a sign of someone believing they are a victim and powerless because of lack of money. Time is money. Interpretation: don't waste time. Treat it with as much respect as if it were money. And what they are really saying is, I don't understand the true value of time, which is infinitely more important than money. If I wasted £1 million, I could get it back. If I waste 1 hour, I can never get that back. This statement gives money much more importance than it deserves. Opportunities are everywhere. What they're really saying is, I have a rich money mindset and I can always find an opportunity to make money. I know the means to create money are everywhere around me. The early bird catches the worm. Interpretation: you need to be there first to get the good stuff. And what they're really saying is, I have a comfortable money mindset. I believe opportunity is scarce and you need to work very hard to earn money. Less talk, more action. When someone says that, they really are saying, I have a rich money mindset. The Lord helps those who help themselves. What they are really saying here is, you have to take personal responsibility for your financial success. It may reflect a rich or a comfortable money mindset. Build a better mousetrap and the world will beat a path to your door. They're really saying, I have a rich money mindset. If you learn to add value, you will always be rich. Neither a borrower nor a lender be. What they're really saying is, I do not agree with debt, and I have a break-even mindset. The speaker does not understand the power of leveraging in building wealth. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. What they're really saying is, I have very little power around my financial success, and it probably comes from an individual with an in-debt or break-even mindset. Rich people stay rich by living like they are broke, and broke people stay broke by living like they are rich. This shows awareness of the need to save money to ensure financial security, coming from a comfortable money mindset. Money isn't everything. When someone says that, they're really saying, to me, money isn't very important. In essence, the speaker is saying that they're not willing to make the change to ensure they will have enough money in their life. You have to have money to make money. What do people really mean when they say this? Literally, it means that you cannot make money without first having some, just like you cannot make a beefsteak without killing a cow. And this is just not true. Of course you can make money without having any. For example, I found a fireplace in a skip and sold it, which meant I was able to make money without actually having any funds to invest. If this saying was really true, then there would be no money creation in the world because someone would have to have the funds before being able to generate more. Just because you don't have money doesn't mean you have no resources. People built wealth before money was invented. There was always a rich money mindset. Individuals were able to look at the resources around them and figure out how they could be used to make more and better. Time, knowledge and skills can be used to make money. People with a rich money mindset know that resources are all around them. They just need to be able to recognise them, to use them. What people who recite this cliché really mean is that having to develop the knowledge and skills to make money is too much effort. Like saying you've missed the goal without even trying to hit the ball, let alone put in the hard work into becoming a great goal scorer. When you hear this saying, you are hearing an excuse. It is like stating that, because I am not successful, I can't become successful. Or because I am not rich, I can't become rich. Anyone who has gone from nothing to success or wealth, and there are plenty of people who have, is proof that with the right mindset, anyone can do it. When you know how money really works, you will be able to find the resources to make money. If you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. This is certainly not true. So many great people work for very little money. They just don't ask for what they want or deserve. Frightened people work for peanuts. I knew a computer programmer in his 50s who had been made redundant and suffered a terrible knock to his self-esteem. He walked with his head down and exuded dejection and failure. As a result, an unscrupulous businessman took advantage of his situation by employing him on a shameful pittance, a rate that he has continued to pay to this day. The employer has built his business model around being able to employ people who are at an all-time low and whose confidence has been crushed. None of his employees are stupid, and they are certainly not monkeys. They are fearful of being sacked if they ask for what they are worth. Money doesn't grow on trees. This hackneyed saying is rubbish. What it really means is, I do not have enough money, and it's not freely available. The supply is finite. You just can't plant more trees to get more. This money mindset is one that does not understand the power of leverage. You need a good qualification to fall back on. We've all heard this popular wisdom. Get a good qualification to fall back on. So if your dream doesn't work out, you have a backup for making a living. This is said by someone who expects failure, and it is untrue. Do you think that any rich person who spends years learning how to build a business and create wealth thinks, well, if this doesn't work out, I'll get a job with my university qualifications. Of course they don't. If it all went wrong, someone with a rich money mindset would use their experience to create wealth to do it again. I love the story of Bruce Springsteen's mother, who said of her famous musician son, he should finish college so that he has something to fall back on if this music thing doesn't work out. Now that you know what you're telling yourself in the cliches that you use, what sayings will you no longer use? What do you believe about money? The best way to identify your beliefs around money is to examine your financial results. Do your results come from beliefs that have been passed down to you by others or from previous experiences that are no longer relevant? Track them back. From every result, work back to the action that caused the result, the decision that led to the action, the thought that led you to make that decision, the feelings that led to the thoughts, the values you hold that make that decision important, the beliefs that underlie the values. Bigger, better, faster, longer. Go to school, study hard. Go to university, study hard. Get a career, work harder and harder. Miss out on time with your family. Even choose not to have a family so it doesn't interfere with your career. Along the way, buy stuff to show how successful you are. Big car, big holidays, big house. Because after all, your big house is an asset. I did this. When I was growing up, I saw how terrible my parents' lives became because they hated their jobs. My aunt hated her job even more. I wanted to do something different, so I set up a chimney sweeping business when I left university, and I loved it. My parents went mad, and they could not stand the disgrace of having a daughter covered in soot, living in a small house in a poor area while building her business. I then did the most stupid thing in my life. I conformed. I allowed the negative feedback and hostility to break me down. My 23-year-old ego couldn't cope with being regarded as doing something degrading and with people judging me as inferior. It touched my Catholic shame button, and rather than my having the vision, self-belief and courage to be myself and grow and nurture my business building skills, I chickened out. I went to London, joined the corporate rat race, married an investment banker, and lived a thoroughly joyless working life until I found the guts to leave and set up in business again at 40. I lost so much by conforming, in total about 18 years of my life. No amount of money on earth, even Bill Gates' fortune 10 times over, can bring back a single day of those 18 years. If you learn how to create wealth rather than earn money, you will be so much more secure. People are encouraged to give up their lives in exchange for the trappings of success. When I was a debt advisor, I saw many people with executive homes and impressive cars who described lying awake at night, terrified about how they were going to continue to keep up with financing these extravagances. I could see the pain of these people struggling with huge financial commitments to create an illusion of wealth for others. Every time they got a promotion, they got a bigger house or car to reflect how they were becoming more successful. I had seen from my rich relatives and from the rich people I interviewed that the trappings of wealth came after building businesses and after investments had produced the wealth to support them. They never bought the trappings from debt that depended on a job for payment. Many people believe that their home and car are assets. Your home is not an asset. It costs you money to finance, and even if you have paid off the mortgage, try not paying your bills for a while and see how financially free you are. A home is also a liability in another way. People get tied into their homes emotionally and continue to do jobs they hate to keep it. It's bad enough to keep doing something because you resist change and fear upsetting people, but to give your time, life and energy to maintaining a house. I've done this in the past and know that it is so sad. I've seen people defer living because they've needed others to see how successful they were by the stuff they owned. Think about that seriously. Are you going to devote your life to showing others, probably those who have hurt you, how materially successful you are? Or are you just going to live your life doing what you value and believe in? Such trappings are distractions from living the life you could be living. Once you build true wealth from assets, you can have all the trappings you choose. Save for a pension and get a good job with a pension. This advice is the biggest lie of all. The government is continually giving us the message that we're not saving enough for our old age. And when they say this, they are referring to people who do not work for the government. State employees in the UK receive massive state-funded pensions in comparison to people who work in the private sector. Those of us who are non-state employees fret over how to provide for ourselves in old age, feeling frightened, guilty and overwhelmed. We know we should do something, but we're not exactly sure what to do. We're not convinced that saving or payments into a pension, as we've been advised, is the right thing to do. We know it is hugely expensive, and we really don't know if we will get anything back. There are many examples of people who've contributed to a pension in good faith, only to receive next to nothing when they retire. No wonder so few of us have made the pension provision that we're supposed to. Deep down we feel our money is disappearing into some black hole. The fees for arranging a pension, which the majority of us do not understand, mean that someone else ends up with the financial security. The fees may look low, but they end up high. Pension companies and brokers get rich, while the pension holder can get very little back. Tony Robbins, author and motivational speaker, in his book Money, shows how this works. What you believe and end up doing about pensions and retirement is a direct reflection of your money mindset. Those with a rich money mindset believe that because they can create money, they can choose when and how they retire. Many with this mindset never retire because they enjoy the process and challenge of creating money so much that they can never stop. Those with a comfortable money mindset might take deferred gratification to its ultimate tragic end. We have all heard stories of people who retired on full pension after 40 years hard slog, only to drop dead within weeks. Saving and deferred gratification are invaluable when working towards building wealth. However, when it comes to retirement and pensions, you need to understand that no matter how careful you are, old age is not going to end well. Death is inevitable. To spend your whole life deferring gratification, doing something unfulfilling in order to stay in a pension scheme and have an income for those last few years of your life is futile. Surely it is better to learn how to invest in low-charge tracker funds or other investments ourselves and control when we want to start living a little. Don't spend 40 years building someone else's dream so that you can have a few years at the end to build yours. I'm not saying that we should abandon plans to provide for ourselves in the future. I am saying we need to develop the financial skills to provide for ourselves now, so that we can live the life that we want today, rather than waiting for some imaginary time in the future. People with a break-even money mindset contribute to a pension and then live modestly within their means on the pension allowance. They end their days very much the same way as they started, by breaking even. Those with an in-debt money mindset try to avoid thinking about retirement at all until the time comes. They find ways to raise money to spend by, for example, raising equity from their houses, taking out loans, selling their belongings and other desperate schemes. Loads of savings are a good thing. We've been trained to think that saving for a rainy day is a good thing. To have an allotted sum set aside to deal with an emergency is vital, because otherwise even a small emergency can become a financial disaster. However, beyond that, continuing to hoard money in savings displays low financial intelligence. Hoarding money stops us from doing good with it. Money should be used as a tool, not as a security blanket. The risk is that if you constantly save for a rainy day, you'll end up with a storm. Geraldine was an extreme example of this. She had been taught by her mother from a young age to always save for a rainy day. She inherited a large sum of money at 21, and she could have purchased 10 houses in a high-end global city. Instead, she purchased a modest house and banked it. And for the next 50 years, she eked out the money in the bank, spending it sparingly and making it last as long as possible. She saved on house repairs and heating and put up with water streaming through the roof and down the walls every time it rained. Ironically, she lived through the rainy day most of her life. When she had been living frugally for nearly 30 years, a wealthy friend offered to repair her house, and she flatly refused, preferring to live as she did with her house falling to pieces around her. She felt safe and secure and in control, living on very little. My father suffered a similar plight, sitting on a fortune in shares, while living in penury and detesting his job. He pressured my mother into working a further 2 years in her 60s despite ill health. These examples show that many are afraid of making money and creating wealth. We are taught to borrow or to hoard, but never to make money work for us. We don't understand this concept, and so give money power over us that it should not have. I always had a big pot of savings that I called FU money, because it meant I always had enough to be able to walk away from the job if I wanted to. It was only as I got older that I understood I had the power to say FU all along. I didn't need a big stash of money to feel okay about walking away and doing my own thing. Choosing different beliefs. Everything you need is available to you if only you could see that. You only have to choose to believe it. Your biggest challenge is to change the beliefs that are holding you where you are and giving you the unwanted results. What if you believed you were successful? What sort of decisions would you make every day if you came from the belief of being a successful person? The truth is, nothing will happen to make you successful. You have to believe that you are, or that you will be, and then think, feel, and act in a way to generate successful results in your life. If you changed your beliefs, you would change your decisions and actions, and the results will change in your life. The most important step is to take responsibility. You are responsible for your beliefs, and you are responsible for choosing new beliefs if your current beliefs don't serve you. It is our choices that show who we truly are, far more than our abilities. J.K. Rowling, acclaimed multimillionaire author. The emotional connection. Money, beliefs and values come from the incidents, good and bad, that happened in our childhood. We attached meaning to key financial events in our youth, and unless we become aware of those events and challenge and change the associated meanings, we are destined to play them out again and again throughout our lives. You can get a good idea of the meaning of financial incidents in your past by exploring your financial timeline. Exercise. Your money timeline. Take a sheet of paper and begin at the far left-hand side of the page. Number 1. Think of your earliest memory of money. As you think back to that first memory of money, become aware of what you were seeing. Who was there? What were they doing? What was happening? What were you hearing? What were they saying? How were they saying it? At that time, what were you feeling? And what were the people around you feeling? What meaning did you give to money in that instant? If it was a positive or happy memory, put a number 0 to 5 to indicate that above the line. The greater the happiness, the higher from the timeline your number would be. If it was a negative or painful memory, Write a number from 0 to -5, depending on the intensity of the feeling. If it was a neutral memory, write your score on the timeline. Continue along your timeline up to the present day, writing down the most memorable money experiences, as many as you can. Now, these money experiences might not be something that someone else would regard as important. This is not the issue. What matters is that they were important to you at the time. Remember that experiences of poverty and wealth are extremely individual and comparative. Don't dismiss an event that had a major effect on you because somebody else might believe it's not important or it shouldn't have mattered. If it caused you discomfort or unhappiness, then it did matter. Recognise and record as many of these instances as you can. Number 2. Once you have reached the present, go back to each instant and identify a few words that describe how you felt at each moment. Disappointed, angry, betrayed, controlled, favoured, unfulfilled, safe, secure, sad, embarrassed, fearful, happy, excited, shameful, etc. If you can't remember, imagine how you would have felt, or imagine how someone else might have felt. Number 3. Look at all the feelings and use 1 or 2 sentences to encapsulate the beliefs about money that you have formed. The sequence of events is important because it will help you understand how you built assumptions on top of others and of how a young mind intensifies events. Complete the following sentence. My life's experience of money has given me, and write in the blank here the appropriate words that come to your mind. Money beliefs. Now you have a clearer picture of your mindset around money. One lady who did this exercise could clearly see her underlying belief that big savings keep you safe and give you control. Fiona was in her 50s and she described her terror when her father's business collapsed when she was 7 years old. For a year, her father stuck his head in the sand and lost everything. Fiona vividly painted a picture of electricity being disconnected and the bank threatening to take the house. For her, not spending meant she would never have to rely on someone else. The key here is awareness. Once you can identify the emotions that formed your money mindset, you can understand that they made perfect sense at the time. Fiona, at the age of 7, felt completely out of control and powerless to do anything constructive to prevent the financial situation from getting any worse. So as an adult, she decided to hoard money in a bid to feel safe and in control. However, this action damaged her ability to generate wealth because she was afraid to make financial decisions that would grow the business instead of playing it safe and not growing. Of course, if you identify emotions and beliefs that are not serving you and you choose to change them, remember that those around you with the same beliefs will almost definitely not change theirs. This is one of the consequences of growth. Sometimes people around you will not come with you. Don't feel bad or ashamed. I've coached many people on how to understand and change their money mindset. People often beat themselves up about bad decisions they have made with money. Avoid beating yourself up about the actions you took because of an old money mindset. This is what you had learned in your life, and at the time you were doing the best that you could. Most of us at some point make poor money decisions, don't understand how to make better ones, and suffer shame and powerlessness. How can you learn about financial success in a world where people won't talk about money? In a world where people would prefer to give you details of their sex life rather than their financial life? People all over the world lie about money, pretending they either have more or less than they really do, depending on what emotional issues they have around the subject. Money is intrinsically connected with our self-worth, and the value society puts on us. At various times in our lives, young or old, we feel not good enough. Everyone feels it in some way. Big corporations understand and exploit this not good enough belief and feeling. Everywhere around us, we get messages that if we buy this product, we will be more desirable. Corporate advertising exploits our children, peddling expensive consumer goods and instilling the idea that owning these products will make them of more value as a person. In schools, children who do not have designer clothes and the latest tech can be mercilessly bullied. Nearly every parent will cave in when a crying child explains why he or she feels left out because they don't have the latest. Even if a parent has to go into debt, they will usually buy the item to appease their child. I often hear parents say that they will do anything so their child will have what they didn't have. The problem here is that the parent is not learning to deal with the link between self-worth and material goods. It is not about making sure, no matter what, that the child always has everything they desire. Some parents feel guilty if their child has to deal with the normal rigours of life. This type of deep parental guilt is normal. We all experience it. But to be financially successful and to teach our children how to be financially successful, getting into debt to buy consumer goods is not the right answer. Reclaiming our power around money and self-worth is essential. Our value is never commensurate with the amount of money we have in our bank accounts or the car we drive. An in-debt money mindset will make us feel inferior, inadequate and excluded. An in-debt money mindset is driven by these beliefs and is common and preyed upon. Fight it and beat it, but don't feel shame at having been there. Shame keeps us trapped in old mindsets. You can change your money mindset. In my work, I have helped many people change their money mindset. You too can change your money mindset if you are prepared to put in the deep level of work that such change demands. Myrna was a young mother with 3 children. She had little formal education and since having her children had lived on welfare. She was permanently mired in debt and eventually got in so deep that she was being harassed by debt collectors. She would hide in bed wondering whether today was the day the bailiffs would come and take everything she owned or even evict her. Myrna ran an in-debt mindset, and when we explored what she wanted, she felt that to get to a rich or even comfortable mindset was too big a stretch. The result she wanted was to get out of and to stay out of debt. Step by step, we agreed a plan with goals and milestones. We then began to explore what might derail the plan. She identified shopping in a superstore. She felt a compulsion to fill the trolley high. Digging a little deeper into this, she said, "Oh, it's clear now." She could see herself sitting in a trolley as a very young child with her happy mum. When I was a child, my mother would pile the supermarket trolley high when she was happy and sing as we went around the supermarket. Then my father lost his job and we had no money, so the pile in the trolley was low. My mother would angrily say, "Only small trolleys from now on because your father's not working." And she said I sat in the trolley looking at my sad, angry mum and associated the feeling with a low trolley. As a grown woman and a mother herself, as soon as she had any money, Myrna would recreate this happy mum feeling by piling the supermarket trolley high. Once Myrna had made the link, we developed a plan to change her in-debt money mindset, and she's never been in debt since. Robin, a very successful businessman, came to me for coaching. He was turning over £20,000 a week, but was hemorrhaging money. In our first session, bankruptcy was only a few steps away. The 4 Money Mindsets logo was visible in my office, and I noticed that when he saw the word debt written down, he turned away from the disturbing word and sat almost curled up in a fetal position. So intense was his distress, I could feel his pain. We looked at his plan and his goals for getting his business and his well-being back on an even keel. He sat in the chair, rocking back and forth, saying to himself, "What an idiot, what an idiot." We investigated a little deeper. His father had been a coal miner, and when all the pits were closed and the people were left with nothing, Robin and his family were desperately poor. Robin didn't want to be like the villagers from the area where he grew up, so he worked hard to build a successful business. He did fabulously well and should have been the happiest man on earth. However, the more money that came into the business, the more he was able to borrow. He had a Porsche, a Maserati, a mansion, racehorses, sent his children to the best private schools, and had countless other trappings of financial success. As soon as he understood his pattern, we created a plan for change. He was an amazing man and his mindset shifted immediately. He put our plan into place and turned things around from that moment. Today, he still has a large house and sends his kids to even better schools, because that's what he values. He has only one car and no longer has any horses, because he has stopped feeling that his possessions reflect his value as a person. Whatever money mindset you have, and whatever situation you are in, you can change your beliefs and your life at this very instant. Change or stay comfortable. Deep level change is not for everybody. To change your money mindset, you will have to change your behaviour. And this is going to be uncomfortable at best and excruciatingly painful at worst. However, if you persist, you will succeed. There is no way around this. Make the change or stay the same. Nobody can do it for you. The world is full of people who have been conned by get-rich-quick schemes. A get-rich-quick scheme offers big returns for a relatively small investment, with the founder of the scheme supposedly putting in all the hard work. If that were really the case, wouldn't the founder of the scheme raise the small financial input themselves and reap the rewards themselves? Nobody can do the sit-ups for you if you want to have a six-pack. Nothing grows in the comfort zone. When I coach people, I teach them how to change their mindset step by step. We work one step at a time through how they develop their money mindset and what specifically they need to do to reach their financial destination. I can guide and throw light on what holds them back and what they need to do, but it is the client who does the hard work. Getting out of your comfort zone and refusing to slip back into bad habits takes courage and a willingness to take the first tentative steps when you don't know what's next, because your direction and goals in life are so unfamiliar and different. Many find this just too uncomfortable. We all have a choice. A lady I know, who is very well educated with a good job, complains but never initiates big change in her life. She says people don't have choices because sometimes these choices are too hard. What she is really saying is that making significant choices in her life is for her too difficult. So she doesn't, and she continues to complain. Think about your own comfort zones and habits. Do you have a habit of overspending? Do you respect the money you have or not? Do you have a habit of hoarding? Do you regularly feel and say that you can't afford something? Are these comfort zones that you need to grow out of? Why most people don't change? Most people prefer to stay in their comfort zone and complain about the life they live. They find it too hard to change or are scared to make the necessary changes. To change your money mindset, you must develop tremendous courage and tenacity. You will reap great rewards, but you will also have to let go of comfortable habits that are a key part of your current identity. You will have to change what you believe, what you do, and possibly some friends, or accept a chained relationship with some family members. People are often very resistant when those close to them choose to fundamentally change. The only way to change what you habitually do is to change your mindset. If you want to be rich, you must do what rich people do on a daily basis. Make the decisions and take the actions that rich people do. Learn about business and finance. Be prepared to do what it takes. Use your money and your time the way a rich person does, and you will end up rich. If you want to stay as you are, that is okay. You can achieve this by continuing to do what you have been doing. To succeed in changing your money mindset, however, you need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. In other words, you have to acknowledge you will feel uncomfortable in order to change and grow. Every time you are out of your comfort zone in terms of your money mindset, know that you are growing and feel good about it. Learn to relish the uncertainty and the struggle, all of which shows you are successful and have the courage to be who you want to be. Action steps. Recognizing your own and others' money mindsets. Recognize your own money mindset. Learn to recognize the money mindsets of the people around you and identify your limiting beliefs